listening to Xposed Living Be Ageless, the podcast where we drop the masks, flip the script, and talk real life, real love, and real leadership unfiltered. I'm Stacey Van Thune, coach, speaker, entrepreneur, and founder of the Xposed Living movement that's redefining what it means to live, lead, and grow at any age. We talk identity, reinvention, belief, and freedom from the bedroom to the boardroom. Yes, we go there. This is not about staying young. This is about waking up. So if you're done with the shoulds and craving more fun, more freedom, more truth, more you, then grab your favorite drink, your bestie, maybe your journal. It's time. Let's get exposed. Welcome to Xposed Living. Today's guest is a friend, but recent friend, and one that I've always done. I see you and I see you with red hair that I am always feel bad if I meet somebody with red hair from Saskatchewan because I'm like, we're best friends. They're like, easy. We haven't met each other. I'm like, you just wait. I feel it. So today's guest is someone whose story hits you right in the truth. Mary Tibbetts is a keynote speaker. She's a corporate wellness strategist and the founder of Fearless Wellness Solutions. But today isn't about her titles. It's about the woman who had life stop her in her tracks. In 2024, Mary experienced a sudden seizure that led to an MS diagnosis. And instead of shutting down, she rebuilt her life from the inside out. Not perfectly, not instantly, but fearlessly and honestly. She spent over 20 years as an entrepreneur and a leader, but this chapter forced her into a different kind of leadership, the kind where your body becomes your biggest teacher. Today, we're getting exposed on what it really means to slow down, to reset, and lead yourself from a life that demands a different pace. She's an expert in burnout, my friends. You're going to want to hear all about this conversation. So this is the story behind the strength and the energy behind the woman. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you. And yes, you are like one of my best friends. With red hair. We have to stick together.
We got to stick together. You're talking about being a unicorn a little bit earlier. I get that. Yeah. And I love the energy that you bring. And, we could talk for hours. We always do. In fact, the other thing I haven't mentioned about Mary, she also has a podcast. Make sure you check out Fearless with Mary. She's brilliant at it. And we had an incredible conversation there. And we're just going to keep it rolling today. You cool with that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right. So, Mary, I want us to get exposed around your own experience with burnout and walk me through the moment everything changed, not just the medical part, but more the emotional part.
So you told everybody I had a seizure. I got diagnosed with MS last year. But leading up to that, I don't know if you've ever read the book When the Body Says No.
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's wonderful. Is Gabor Matier?
Okay.
I butcher his name every time, but he's a doctor. He's lovely. He talks about autoimmune. So my body, for I would say 18 months leading up to my seizure, was telling me that something was wrong. Like so wrong, to the point that I had numbness in part of my body. I couldn't think at work. I was like dropping the ball a little bit. Thank goodness I had a great team that was running my shop for me for the most part. I didn't really feel like doing anything. I was so tired. I was a little bit depressed. I had a little bit of stuff going on. And then but the crazy thing is I was actually at the top of my game, though. It was the best that it could possibly be at that point in my life. I was achieving every single thing that I had wanted and hoped for when it came to owning my flower shop. Everything. I won a scholarship. I went to New York to train with a world-renowned florist. Our numbers were friggin' wild. We were booked for weddings. That was in February of 2024. We were completely booked for weddings for the summer of 2024 and the fall. And we were already booking into 2025. Like it was crazy. Not to mention in the shop itself, it was so busy. And then I had a seizure. But this is the point now when I step back and I take a look at it. This is the point when I knew that I was in complete burnout, because I had my seizure. My husband and I don't sleep in the same bed. So instead of waking him to let him know that I had a seizure and I should probably go to the hospital, I literally crawled up the stairs and got into bed, and I texted him and I said, "Can you remind me in the morning to call the doctor because I think I had a seizure?" And I sat there, and the only thing that was going through my mind was, "Oh, I have that install tomorrow, so I need to just get a good night's sleep because I'm pretty sure it was nothing." I rolled over not even knowing if I was going to wake up the next morning. But I was so concerned about what I needed to do for everybody else instead of myself that it didn't matter, because achieving and being that leader was what was important to me in that moment. And then when I ended up in the hospital the next day after I woke up, which I'm grateful for, my whole life changed when I had 2 more seizures in emergency room that day. And I sat there and I was like, "Oh my goodness." I'm like, my brain is on burnout. Even no matter what this is, I have officially hit burnout because I absolutely don't give a shit about anything else right now or going forward. Like, I don't know what it was. Well, obviously I know what it was, but I don't know why it took having 2 more seizures in Emerge to make me realize that I've been running on fumes for 18 months, if not longer.
You know,
Yeah.
from what you've shared in that story and knowing you, I mean, being a high performer and doing things for people, would you say that that became part of your identity and you almost felt like if you didn't do that, that you weren't enough? Or because I know you're not alone in this, like we were talking before we press record, that there's so many people that they won't admit to themselves that they could be in this stage of burnout, but they wait until the actual seizure, the diagnosis, the divorce, the whatever, that falling out before they're like, holy shit, enough's enough. So my question is like, why didn't you notice that? Or what do you think that was just because you're just so used to being there for everybody that by not doing it, you felt like you're being weak? Or
100%.
yeah.
I think so. In the time that I owned the shop, so I owned the shop for like 20 days less 6 years. So I owned it for 6 years. Up until the seizure, I called in sick once, which is crazy because I'm the boss. And B, what is that showing my team that I expect from them? Just because I do it doesn't mean that they need to be doing that. And then they actually thought that they did need to do that. And it's wrong. It's actually wrong. But because somewhere in my psyche, if I don't show up and I don't do the things that I'm supposed to be doing and I let my team down, I'm lazy. And it stems back, right? Like, of course, it stems back to your child, and everything does. And it doesn't matter who you talk to. Everybody has stories about whatever their parents taught them or what you learned in school or whatever it was. And I grew up in the 80s. I'm a 70s baby. I was born in 79. So, it was, if you aren't achieving or you're not good in sports or you're like the chubby kid, which I was, then you're lazy. You're useless. It's not. So I feel like once adulthood hit, now it's time to be the best at the best of the best of everything. And I was. That's the crazy thing. I actually achieved it. I was the one of the best to be able to win a scholarship, like, and go, and I beat 1,000 other people out for this spot. Like, that's crazy if you think about it. And to me, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Another
So
notch
now
in the belt.
yeah, like now that's another notch, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna learn how to do this, and then when I get back, I'm gonna open another location. That's actually what the plan was.
Oh, interesting. And this is why I'm so passionate about, like, you say you're born in the 70s, like, this is for Gen X by Gen X, because I really believe there's so many of us that wasn't just our parents, that was just culturally what was being accepted,
Mhm.
right? Our parents didn't have a lot, so you wanted to always do better than what they did. And if your parents had never had the opportunity to do certain things, and they kind of passed on, not knowing, like really trying to like set us up for success, which you had, which you were experiencing. But the question
Yeah.
is, at what cost?
Oh, my health, my sanity, my son's, my youngest son's teenage years. I lived at that shop. It was my other marriage.
Mm.
It didn't cost me my marriage, which I'm grateful for, but I sure did miss out on 6 years of my youngest son growing up through COVID. Because through this is what a lot of people don't realize. So flower shops were considered what is it?
Essential?
Essential. So thank you. So we were considered an essential service because we provide it for
Okay.
funerals, and people didn't
Oh,
realize that. And during COVID, it was the boom for the floral industry because it was the only thing that you could send to people. So I went from 1 staff to 5 in the matter of 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Because we were so busy. So my poor son is here in his room, locked up, trying to figure out school in junior high, by the way, which is the worst years of everybody's life. And I don't care what anybody says. I'll fight you on that because junior high is horrible.
I'm going through it with my teenagers.
Yeah, it's the worst thing ever. So he's stuck in his room learning on a computer, and my husband was home, which was good, but it's not his mom.
Yeah.
And I'm at the shop 12 hours a day just to stay on top of things. So it's crazy.
So thank you for being so vulnerable around your story. And then I think there's a lot of people that are listening, maybe not owning a flower shop, but in some way can resonate with, like, oh my God, I've been there. And then we get this feeling almost of like, well, did I fail doing what I thought was right?
Well, see, I don't look at it that way. I don't see it as a
Good.
failure. I wouldn't say that it's a failure, but I would say that it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
So, yes, I missed out on that. I also know I am a good mom, and I also know that prior to owning my flower shop, I did work in the corporate world, and I also owned a bookkeeping HR company. So I started that. So what I went to school for, I was a lab assistant, and I used to work in microbiology, but then we had our youngest and it's shift work. So I needed to figure something out to be able to stay home. So I took all the bookkeeping courses, all of that. And then I did bookkeeping HR from home so I could be with my kids, drop them at school, do all of that stuff when they were younger. So I know that I'm a good mom, and the thing is I know I needed to do that. Well, at that point in time, I needed to prove to myself that I could do that. I also wasn't expecting a pandemic, in my defense.
No, and this is never like affects like this, like really just getting curious to like understand like some of the things, because my question would be for you is like, so then you were forced to slow down,
I didn't have a choice.
right?
And the thing is what's crazy, I know I was burnt out. I was so tired. I was so mean. And it's so funny because my kids will say, you're not as cranky as you used to be. You're not as mean as you used to be. I'm like, when was I ever mean? I feel like I've always been the same. And they're like, no. They're like, you were so mean for like 2-3 years. And it's because I was done. I was burnt out and I just couldn't deal with it. But the
Short
crazy
fuse.
thing is that wouldn't have happened, I would own probably 3 locations now.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
wild.
so this is my question then to you, like, so what surprised you most about slowing down and being on the other side now of burnout?
Oh, life is really beautiful. When, oh, it actually is. I don't think I don't feel bad for people. I don't do that. But I don't feel sorry for people. That being said, I'm sad. I I'm very sad for people, especially older people who don't get to experience how beautiful life really can be. Because it's beautiful. Like, yes, I set my own schedule and all that, and that's fine, whatever. But like just last year, oh my goodness, we traveled. So since I sold the shop in July of 2024, we have traveled 4 times to 4 different places, and I learned how to surf. Like it, yeah, and my relationships with my kid. Well, I have my older one is amazing. My 19-year-old, he's 19, so we're still like, he's 19. So, but it's still a good relationship.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
actually get to do things. So I
Mhm.
know this sounds so small to people, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in. It really doesn't matter. There's certain times of the year that you miss out on. In the floral industry, well, in any sort of retail industry and restaurant industry. So they're very, very similar. You miss out on every single holiday.
Right.
So a lot of the times I would end up setting the tree up in the afternoon of November 11th after we went to service because my husband's a vet. And I would come home, I would set it up, and I would put the lights on it. I think 2 years in a row, we actually decorated on like November or on like December 22nd because I was so busy. Last year, I think I put my tree up. We had the whole house decorated by 5 p.m. on the 12th of November last year, and it was wonderful. This year, it hasn't snowed yet, so I'm not really there yet.
I know.
But
I'm
yeah,
thinking of this weekend. I have a
yeah.
question. We talk about Gen X, baby of the 70s and in the 80s. What do you think Gen X leaders are getting wrong about energy and burnout? And what truth do you think they need to hear?
I think oh, so many, so many. So,
You're like, Stacey, how long do
so
you got?
many.
Pick your
Um,
top.
what your parents taught you and their parents taught them, and what society has taught you about what success looks like isn't true. Success is how you see success. That being said, if you're somebody that needs to work to the bone and you don't care if you get burnt out and everything, have at her. Like you don't want to hear anything I have to say anyway. So, but for Gen X people, and I would like to believe that most of us do try to take a step back, but just because society and your parents told you that you A couldn't do something, B you should do something, or C that to be successful you have to work yourself like a dog, that is definitely not true. What I wish all leaders, people, everybody in our generation would do. So in my keynote, I talk about 2 types of boundaries. A lot of people say boundaries are boundaries. There's one type of boundary. There actually isn't. So there is 2 types of boundaries. The first one is boundaries with yourself. So for me, is what I put into my body, how I talk to my body, how I move with my body, and how I am spiritually. They're the 4 things that I do for me. But then the second type of boundary is the boundaries that you set with others. Again, yes, it is for you, but it is also for them. So they know how they're allowed to treat you. And that goes with employers, employees, friends, family, people on the street. It doesn't matter. And I just wish everybody knew that and knew what their boundaries were and would set it for themselves.
I love that. I talk a lot too around I haven't used the word boundaries as much as like your standards, right? Like what are your non-negotiables to yourself? And if you're not willing to keep those non-negotiables, those boundaries for yourself, how can you expect anybody else to keep it? So it starts with you to train and teach others of how to do it. So I think that's so important. And I want to go one step deeper with you even when we do that is like, what I mean, you talk about how you treat your body now. I think we should like share a really strong story. Like you just finished your half marathon. Did you not?
I did.
Right?
Yes. And I couldn't walk last year. So it's pretty crazy.
Right. And showing that like, so would you say a big of the changes, I mean, yeah, you sold the shop and in certain ways there was like this, you almost were forced to slow down, but you could have easily slowed down and felt sorry for yourself. And instead you did the opposite as like kind of channel some of that energy that you were putting out to prove to everybody else that you were worthy towards even maybe to prove to yourself that you're worthy and start like doing, what does Mary frickin' want?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, everything happened last year. So my whole life, this is so crazy. My whole life I've struggled with my weight. I feel like everybody struggles with their weight for the most part, like like there's a handful that hasn't, especially in Gen X. So since last April, I've been eating anti-inflammatory. I lost 15 pounds. I've kept it off because I don't eat any of that stuff. I've always wanted to run a half marathon. Did that. I always wanted to take violin lessons. Did that. I always wanted to take singing lessons. Doing that. What else? I always wanted to stand on stage and tell people my story. And because I was always told I talked too much and I was too loud and I was too big and I was all of these things. And now I'm just kind of like, interesting that I get paid to do that now.
Is that funny?
Isn't that funny?
And I just love it because you've actually shown that they have all of this still potential and you can start to put it into places that now fill your cup or like you do it from overflow versus having to like do it from like this place of lack or I need or if I'm proving, right?
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, don't get me wrong. I miss my shop. Like I do. I miss my shop, but I know that it was a necessity for me to sell it because if not, I would have never have slowed down. You can be I'm still a business owner. Right. It's just a different business now. Like I run a nonprofit for people that have MS and I love it and it's amazing and it fills my cup like on so many levels. It's amazing. That being said, you can be a business owner and you can still fill your cup. You just don't need to drain all of your energy. So I talk a lot about energy currency and explain to people that every single thing that you do costs you and you have to look at your energy as if it's your bank account. Yes. Because you brush your teeth, that's a bill. You make coffee, that's a bill. So if you add it all up throughout the day and then you're going to work and now you're borrowing credit from tomorrow, you're never going to get a refund and then all of a sudden you're going bankrupt. And then you're in burnout. And I think when you use a money analogy, people can comprehend it a little bit easier.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I know. I think it's really important. It's like, what is even when you start to say it, like, what is the most worthwhile currency you have? And it's everybody like, well, money, without money, I don't have, well, no, there's nothing more important than your health and how you treat yourself because we've seen it and lots of us Gen X, we've known this story. We've seen it and we've seen it with parents that you can have the most money in the world. You lose your health. It means nothing.
Nothing. It means nothing. I promise you. When my legs stopped working, it was only for a few hours last year. Every single morning I wake up and when I wiggle my toes, I am so grateful. And it is going to be a beautiful day.
Oh, goosebumps. Yeah. So good. Oh, I love it. Oh, hey, Mary, you just briefly mentioned MS, your foundation, the MS Nation Community Foundation. So Can you share though, when you were creating this, what one fear or what was like, did you have any hesitation? How did you overcome that? And what is it all about? Cool.
100% not at all. So I'll tell you a little bit of a story. Little bit. I'll
Sure.
make it quick. Last year when I got diagnosed, there is not a lot of support for people that do get diagnosed with MS. I don't know about anything else because I only have MS, right? Um, I'm blessed because I get counseling through my husband, so I don't have to worry about that. But for other things like physiotherapy and all of that, I had to pay out of pocket because I'm a business owner, right? I don't have insurance. That's not, why would I? Why would I? I'm in optimal health. Oh my goodness. Nothing's ever going to happen to me. I am amazing. So when everything happened, I found that there was no connection circles, nothing. A lot of it was online. A lot of it was really negative. A lot of it was just a lot of poor, pitiful me stuff, unfortunately. And then in June, I was like, you know what? I need community of people that understand what is going on with me because I love my friends. I love my friends and I love my family, but they don't understand what extreme fatigue is. And because it's not being tired and it's not just being fatigued, like MS fatigue, it knocks you down. Like you can be out for a couple of days. And I wanted to just be able to have this conversation. So we started the Coffee Connection and then that grew. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe we should start a nonprofit. And then I'm talking to the people at the Coffee Connections and I'm like, what would you like if there was anything you could pick that would help you the most, what would it be? And everybody says counseling. If we could get counseling at least somewhat covered, that would be amazing. And I'm like, okay, this is coming from a gentleman that used to be an engineer and now he's on disability and he's on AISH because all of his savings is gone and now he's living off the government and he hates it. And you only get so much through it and all that other stuff. So I said, okay. So we started a nonprofit. Our first gala is on April 17th. And we've partnered with a psychology firm here in Edmonton. Actually, they're across Canada. And so we're going to do sliding scale counseling. So normally it's $220 for a counseling set to see the psychologist. They're discounting the nonprofit to $180. And then we are doing a sliding scale for MS warriors, their caregiver, partner, spouse, whichever, and their children, because MS is a family disease. And then we go off of how much they make, but the maximum amount that any family will pay is $80 a session.
Oh, so good. So if you're listening right now, April 17th, 2026 is the gala, and all of how to get a hold of you will be in the show notes. Typically, that's one of my last questions I ask, but like since we're in this train right now, can you continue to share how you get more involved with the gala, more involved with you, where people can get more Mary in their lives?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Okay. So for the gala, like Stacey said, it is April 17th. You can purchase individual tickets, table tickets. You can sponsor whatever you want. We have the website's almost finished. I'm so excited because somebody has very graciously given us their time to build us a website, which I'm so grateful for.
So
The Edmonton Expo Center and Encore AV are actually our large sponsors for it. They've sponsored the event. So it's at the Expo Center. Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. It's black tie. It's going to be great. If you want to volunteer or if you have MS or know anybody that has MS and you want more information, please just reach out to me. You can email me at msnationcommunity@gmail.com. And you can follow me on Instagram at Fearless with Mary or on Facebook or LinkedIn. You can follow me, Mary Tibbetts, or we actually have accounts for MS Nation Community Foundation as well, but they just got up and running, so there isn't as much information. But and then if you are looking for a coffee connection, we have one this Sunday coming up, and then in December it's December 14th, and you can get on our email list and you can find out all of the information.
So good. I'll make sure we put it in the show notes so that people have it. And now we're just going to reverse it. So I always end with a few ageless questions. Ready
Okay.
for some shotgun questions?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. What's one fear you're still working on?
That I won't treat myself like I should, and I will end up really sick.
Oh, you feel that, yeah.
Yeah.
So focusing on always being well.
Always being well. Focus always on
Mm.
being well. Even in conversation with my husband when he's mad at me, I'm like, okay, this can be continued until everybody's calm. Can't do it anymore. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's so, and then saying that, maybe this is the opposite of it, but is there a belief that you used to have that you no longer have, that you've gotten rid of because it no longer serves you? One belief that you were done with.
Anything can happen to you in a split second.
Okay.
Oh, man, for real, I was that person. That would never happen to me. I would think of
Mhm.
the most horrific other things that could happen that can happen, like a horrific car crash or like something. But I'm like, I am so healthy because what a lot of people don't realize, a lot of the times when you have, well, for me, for MS, my blood work is perfect. My heart is like a 17-year-old athlete. Um, my CT scan was completely clear. So the only reason that they were able to even figure anything out was from my MRI, my spinal tap,
Mm.
just to see. But from quick testing, optimal health. So why would anything happen to me? So the number
Mhm.
one thing is I never want anything to happen to anybody, but it can happen to you.
Yeah,
It can. Yeah.
can have. Um, what is one boundary you'll never negotiate again?
Oh, sleep hygiene, girlfriend. Sleep hygiene.
How many hours of sleep do you get a night, or what's your goal? Or is that what you
I
mean when you say sleep hygiene, or
pardon me. Yeah, 8
yeah?
hours.
Oh, good for you.
Sometimes 7, but usually it's because, well, I'm 46, so there's other components to how I sleep now. But yeah, so 7 to 8 hours a night. It's
A
non-negotiable
non-negotiable?
on any level. Yeah, and what I put into my body. I actually have a few non-negotiables, but what I put into my body. So I will usually take a lunch bag with me if I have a conference or something, because they always say that there's food. 99.99% of the time I can't eat it. So I just take my own. I don't care.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
good. And then
Yeah.
finish this off. Is there a quote or a book that has like really been impactful for you, just being able to keep the mindset that you have going on, or a favorite one?
Actually it's a business leadership one, which I love Who Not How and 10 times is easier than 2 times. I love both of them. They're from the same authors. So it's Dr. Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. They're brilliant. They're brilliant. They're brilliant books. And yeah, I love them. And I really love when the body says no. So I have it on both ends. Yeah.
You know what I love about what you just said, and I want to make sure this wasn't in my outro notes, but I want to put it in there, is that so many of us at Gen X think that the way to get more, achieve more is to work harder. And even when you said, I haven't read that book, the 2X, 10X, but I can imagine something of it, is that the real way of doing it is by eliminating those things that don't move the needle and focusing on. I mean, one of my coaches would always say, Stacey, it's a lot more easier to earn $1 million than it is to 100,000, because 100,000, there's so many different ways that you start like chasing all these different rabbits. But if you start to think bigger, then there's like one way you get locked in on it. So it's like, the 20-80 rule, right? What is that 20% that's driving 80%? Let go, leverage the 80, do what you do best with that 20, and you can 10x your results today without even knowing anything different. Like,
Oh, 100%. And I love Who Not How. I've read it like 5 times. Well,
who not?
it's Who Not How. It's so good. It's about even just in life. So when everything happened last year, I actually implemented it in my life, not just in my business. So it was hiring the who's that knew how to do the things that I didn't know how to, so I didn't have to learn how to do it.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And then I love that too, is like friends out there in leadership, stop making your decisions from your current results. When people say, well, I can't afford to do that. You can't afford not to. And Mary's living proof of it. So I want to say, Mary, thank you so much for getting exposed with me today.
100%.
Not just always as the expert that you are in leadership and burnout and protecting your energy, but also as a woman who chooses courage over collapse. So for anyone listening, let this be your reminder. Your next level may not require more effort. It may require more honesty and more letting go. Connect with Mary. I'll link all of her stuff here. And as always, live exposed, live agelessly, and lead from your truth of what you're becoming, not who you've been. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Much love. Yay!
That's it for today's episode of Xposed Living, Be Ageless. But this is just the beginning. If this episode made you feel something, share it. Tag me. Send it to a friend. Let's start the conversation we can be having all along. No shame, no guilt. Unfiltered, raw, real, exposed. And if you're ready to go deeper, join us inside the Xposed Living Facebook community, where we take this work off the podcast and into real life. Know this, your change starts when your excuses die. Because this life, this one wild, ageless, unforgettable life is waiting on you. This is your time. This is your truth. This is Xposed Living.